Well, welcome everyone. And I was just considering, well, maybe we'll start with have some teachings on slides, and I also have a text, but we can see. We'll start with the slide, maybe, and just have yeah, it's about how we use our mind, and some of us have probably heard it already, but it's always nice to reflect and powerful to reflect on how we use our mind. And I'll share it here. And then after that, we can have space for questions and also shares of how short moments are going and your direct experience. So, okay, and it's always powerful to see the images because they also, these metaphors evoke open intelligence just without even needing to think about it and needing to try to contrive anything. So I'll read and comment a bit on the text. So in open intelligence, thoughts and emotions vanish naturally, leaving no trace, like reflections in a flawless crystal ball. So you can see it here. The image of a flawless crystal ball that reflects all the images. And the crystal ball is indestructible regardless of what appears within it. Nothing scratches the crystal ball, regardless if it's pleasant or unpleasant images. And that's the same with all our thoughts and emotions. And in open intelligence, thoughts and emotions, they vanish naturally, leaving no trace. They come and go, and we can recognize that in a short moment, in an instant of taking a short moment. And that indestructible essence, open intelligence, is what we gain confidence in, recognizing when taking short moments, repeated again and again. And the power of our mind, open intelligence, is unavailable when there's effort to regulate the flow of data. So that's what we're used to, trying to regulate the flow of data. So most of us divide our data into positive, negative, or neutral categories, constantly trying to control it or control our thoughts and emotions, speech and actions in order to make them positive rather than negative. So if you all can imagine the situations or moments when we try to not think something negative or try to control our emotions, try to get better ones, and try to not think about certain things. And so this constant effort in trying to rearrange what we feel and think and also sense in our actions, and which of course to a certain degree is needed, but at the same time, when we get to know the power of open intelligence, we test something in our own experience, what it means to allow all these positive, negative, and neutral thoughts and emotions to rest in the space of open intelligence. And that we do just for a short moment, just right now. We're thinking about things, feeling something, having sensations, and we take a short moment and allow these thoughts and emotions to arise and to vanish by themselves without anything needing to be done. It's this belief that being a good person comes from the effort involved in organizing our data into those that would be considered good. And the basis for ultimate goodness in human beings is an innate quality of the mind, open intelligence. So that's what we discover and we recognize and open up to this essence of who we truly are, open intelligence, the basic state of every human being, and getting to know that in ourselves, that empowered mind, empowered way of recognizing, recognizing our thoughts and emotions, also recognizing who we took ourselves to be, something that needs to be fixed. Also, we try to work on our identity, we try to have be a better person, and maybe criticize or judge ourselves for who we feel or think we are, and try to rearrange it into a better person. And this practice gives an opportunity to recognize the indestructible essence within ourselves and recognize the goodness and the purity and in our natural state that is all good, that has the power to know, that is entirely beneficial by nature, and has the power to know how to deal with our thoughts and emotions and experiences that sometimes lock us into these descriptions and limitations. So recognizing the ultimate goodness in human beings, that is an innate quality of our mind, open intelligence. Yeah, so we may have juggled data, hoping this would provide relief. So it's a habit, and of course something we've learned naturally. Juggling data, probably more than two at once, and juggling. That our thoughts, emotions, our actions, our way, and other people's data as well, right? We're not only involved in our own data, but also in other people's data. So, so that's why we are looking here at the four ways of how we use our mind, of how we handle our thoughts and emotions. And when we look at it, we can see that we indulge them, like we describe them and look at them or we avoid them, or we replace them, like negative ones into good ones. And the fourth response is that they are left as they are. So that's the practice of short moments. So we'll go through these four now, but this is just an overview of seeing the different ways of how we deal with our thoughts and emotions, with the content of our mind. And we'll start here with the first one, how we indulge the thoughts and emotions, and we make stories around the thoughts and emotions. We repeatedly think about it and describe all we feel and think, so we all can recognize that in our own experience of, okay, we'll have certain thoughts and we think of a situation or a person and we think of all the things around it. Maybe we are irritated or angry, and then we have all the stories around that, and our thoughts and emotions, and we justify it and describe everything. So we repeatedly think about it, it comes up, and we also have maybe made many sensations in our body and feel the tension, and so that's the example of indulging in it. And thoughts and emotions are avoided. So we try to really avoid thinking about maybe a person, not going to a certain place where we could get triggered and angry. I'm using now the angry, irritated example. So we don't want to see the person, or we don't want to be in that circumstance. And we avoid it at all costs. Or something, the picture, the incoming call, okay, no, I'm not taking it. And we try to not think about it. So it also takes a lot of effort to try to avoid circumstances, people, and also our own emotions. And then their thoughts and emotions are replaced into better ones. So there's a seemingly better thought or emotion, and try to talk it away or think it away, and try to see the good side of things. And of course, these are But it's good to see that how these kinds of ways have not resolved certain emotions and circumstances, conflicts. So positive thoughts are actively cultivated, when we think about good things, or think about they try to create positive emotions. Like sometimes certain antidotes, like get angry, okay, we have to have a drink or eat lots of chocolate. That will probably be more my my kind of thing. But these kinds of things, or have a better experience, go somewhere, and nothing is wrong about those kinds of things necessarily, but it is about how we use our mind and getting to know that, being more aware and clear about the dynamics of thoughts and emotions and how we use our mind. So in this fourth one, where we recognize open intelligence, thoughts and emotions are left as they are as open intelligence. So just as thoughts and emotions arise, they flow on by. There are these birds, which is also a nice metaphor. You see the flight path of the bird in the sky. It doesn't leave any trace. It can't even see it. And data are like the flight path of a bird in the sky. The bird's flight path vanishes without a trace. Each thought vanishes without effect. So when taking these short moments of open intelligence empowers that self-release of data, meaning data appear and self-release, they undo themselves without any effort. And that the quality of mind becomes obvious when we allow it to be obvious, when we take short moments, when we don't engage in the other ways of using our mind. So that choice comes in here. Okay, I'll read here. So as a datum appears, instinctive open intelligence is spontaneously obvious, empowering its benefit and placing its reified aspect into perspective. Data vanish naturally, without a trace, like one part of the clear sky seemingly and indivisibly blends with all of the sky, all of sky. The sky is inseparable. Similarly, data cannot be found to have an independent nature, power, or influence like sky in sky. Open intelligence is continuous. Assurance in open intelligence dawns bright like sunlight filling sky. There's direct crossing from data naming intelligence, a reified intelligence, to the vast open intelligence and its blended array of spontaneous, beneficial qualities and activities of mind and speech and body at all times. That's powerful to read also these texts evoke a sense and recognition of open intelligence, the power that is innate in us, recognizing how data, meaning all thoughts and emotions, arise and vanish, leaving no trace, and this empowerment, and how we can recognize these beneficial qualities come about when we switch from that data naming intelligence, where everything is just the data descriptions, to an intelligence that sees the data for what they are, and the dynamic energy of open intelligence. It's not about getting rid of all these data. We'll never be able to do that. Never. So every data, every thought and emotion is an opportunity to recognize open intelligence. And it's not about getting rid of having good thoughts. It's more about having that opportunity to recognize open intelligence. So this fourth response that we talked about, the letting data be as they are. Open intelligence is outshining of data. Incomprehensive intelligence is is that it is possible to instinctively recognize that data are inseparable from stable open intelligence. This is the powerful and beneficial intelligence of open intelligence, and it is our natural state. Instinctive open intelligence is completely empowered, instantaneously recognizing that all data cannot be found to have a power independent of open intelligence. In the instinctive recognition of open intelligence, we are truly empowered human beings living the Four Mainstays lifestyle as an active part of our lives. Otherwise, data naming becomes too compelling and we forget open intelligence. Regardless, open intelligence and its great power of benefit to all is on the scene and will bring about a beneficial world on its own systems and terms, benefit, prosperity, and generosity for all, with no one left out. So it goes here from an own experience of open intelligence, outshining all data, to the empowerment of our beneficial qualities, which is our natural state. And so the gaining confidence in open intelligence ensures that we can recognize this in us and in all human beings. And the Four Mainstays are mentioned, which is the support system of short moments, giving the opportunity to recognize open intelligence at all times, like texts, like the Four Mainstays is that there's short moments, there's a practice, there's a method, a way of recognizing this in our daily life. Nothing needs to change in our lives other than making that choice. And the second one is that we have all the media available, like talks and meetings like this, and texts and the metaphors, and to evoke open intelligence. And then the trainers are there to support that, to share their own steps and experience in gaining confidence in open intelligence. And then there's the fourth is the community, people who also choose to recognize open intelligence and integrate that into their daily life and share their experience. And then when we hear others do it and hear their experience, and it supports that it's easier for us to gain confidence in open intelligence. So that's the purpose of what it means for me. It's lifestyle. It means open intelligence lifestyle. Yeah, so there's nothing else that needs to be done about thoughts and emotions. All data self-release. We can rely on the power of open intelligence in our everyday life. So that gives that moment of clarity that nothing needs to be done. Just that short moment, recognizing open intelligence and data self-release. That we can rely on open intelligence in every moment. Data are the liveliness and power of open intelligence itself. And open intelligence has no particular point from which to view. It takes in all data and gives them beneficial perspective and potency. Yeah, so it's another way of looking at all our thoughts and emotions and seeing the potency, the beneficial energy within it, within them all. So suddenly we're not fighting against ourselves anymore in the energy that can provide benefit regardless of how we describe it. Doesn't matter how we describe it. We don't have to not describe it, obviously. We can feel things as they are and empower this beneficial perspective that maybe initially feels contrived or feels like, where is it? But becomes more and more natural as it's also our natural state. Oh yeah, that's short moments for today, and go through the questions for reflections. So this is part of an intro training that has often questions that empower instinctive recognition. Asking how, where do we see our short moments in our daily life, and how does that appear, and how does it look, and how do I gain confidence and open intelligence with short moments? Good. Okay, so we can see if there are any questions or also shares on how short moments are going, and love to hear, but also questions. You can just speak or press 1.
I have a question.
Yes, hello to see you.
So, in the case like where someone has chronic pain, like 24/7, and like it's not necessarily evident to others, and then others are always like, "Oh, you got to do this and do that and do this and do that and do this," and then it's like, "Whoa, like okay, how like." Because like that's me, like I am in pain 24/7, and I like my whole life has changed, and I still have people treating me like I have the capacity that I used to. Um, and so like sometimes I just want to scream and be like, I'm in pain. I can't do that. But like obviously I can't do that either. So um I take short moments, but I don't know how to necessarily communicate, especially when it feels like I'm having to constantly repeat myself.
And yes, thank you. And so, what happens when you take short moments? What are your insights there?
Like I just have a lot of thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and oftentimes like I'll just cry because yeah.
Feels like hopeless. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then, did you have an experience? Is there a person where you feel you could talk about it and share how it is, and say this is what I can do and what I cannot do?
Um, like yeah, I have like therapists and mentors, but those people are not in my like everyday life. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so for example, my family, like we basically have no relationship. And like I have some friends who understand, but yeah, it's like I think that also people forget, right? So it feels like I have to constantly remind them.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah. Well, yes, that brings up a lot of emotions and thoughts, and especially when people, yeah, don't see it like you say, and also, yeah, don't maybe know it themselves, how it is to have maybe constant pain, which is of course very stressful in one way. And I can see that you're taking short moments, first of all, with yourself, right? It's also the short moments are very helpful to really deal with your own thoughts and emotions about pain, and how you feel and what you can do and cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
And the all the frustration and anger goes also there towards oneself, possibly about, yeah, what's coming up, or towards the pain. And so that's one area, of course, where I can see that you're using the practice to support yourself with it, which is can be very challenging, I'm sure. Supporting yourself, and then it sounds like you have also professional support, so that's good. It's good too. And that can be a place to really, bring these things up with specific relationships where you feel you need to make boundaries and need to say what works and what does not work, right? It sounds also like with your family, there's things going on beyond that. So that you can have support with that, right? And but the key is like, it can get overwhelming when we think, okay, how to deal with all these relationships in different ways, right? Some people I have to remind all the times, with other people there's other things going on. But with when coming back to this practice, the first step is that you gain more confidence in your natural state that gives you more options. More options, meaning more options of how to deal with circumstances that are very challenging and that maybe have a lot of relationships that have conflicts or tension, or where you get a lot of frustration and irritation and anger, including the relationship with oneself. So it's good that you're practicing short moments within it all and have additional support, like it sounds like, to maybe go specific into circumstances, something that comes up right now with a person, that you can talk that through with someone. You all along have the short moments there. That gives you a perfect view. That's good. But sometimes it is helpful to talk things through with another person, like a professional person that maybe deals with relationships or family. But all along, the practice can always be with you, and you can always gain more confidence. It brings something, getting to know all our energies, all the feelings and thoughts that come up. It is your power, and I guess you see that, do you?
See my power?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I do. Yeah, sometimes I just feel like a hot mess.
A hot mess, are you saying?
Yeah, like I don't necessarily like always feel powerful.
Of course, yes, it can. But in a short moment, can you recognize it at times? Like even a short moment. The short moments can only be really short.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely I would say yes, because it's like I don't have to even deal with this right now, when I take a short moment, it's like
Yeah.
I have the power to just rest and like sit or whatever, like be quiet or breathe, or basically it's like a self-care moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Repeat those as much as you can, which gives you strength for the moments where you need to interact.
Okay.
They will come with you into those circumstances. Those moments of self-care, it's good that you can recognize that. And it's easier when it's quiet, when you don't have to deal and don't have to see anyone, I guess. Yeah. So that's okay. So you gain confidence in those circumstances that are easier to recognize. That you call it self-care. That's perfect. It's really a form of self-care. A moment of recognizing open intelligence, recognizing your powerful energy, but you don't even have to find it. You just take that moment. That'll be more and more pervasive into those times that don't feel like that at all. That's the part of gaining confidence, but just do it where it's easier.
Okay.
That's the way to go. And the other, yeah. that's these short recognitions, they give more confidence. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I know you. Yeah, you're really showing up for it. I know, so that's really good. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Kathy.
Thank you. Let's see if there's anybody else have a question or maybe sharing about taking these short moments in easy situations and hard situations.
Well, I could share and ask a question, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I was driving along the coast this morning, and I was kind of indulging thoughts, and then I remember, because last time you asked, well, did you try practicing short moments, in a time of difficulty or whatever, and so I tried it, and it was surprisingly easy, and I was like, oh wow, this is great. It's just like all of a sudden my mind got still, and it was like no stress or tension, and so I really appreciated that. Just luckily you asked me that question last time, and I remembered, just probably because of this, I was going to have the call today, or I would have forgot. Um, and then I remember last time I was asking, well, what does it mean to rely on it? And but I think maybe you're just saying that once you recognize that there is a way to recognize that still quality that is present, whether or not there's data, at least to kind of direct your attention back to that. And then in this case, the data just pretty much took a break. I mean, it came back, but at least I had a break. And so is that kind of what you meant by rely on open intelligence, or is there another understanding that I'm not sure of?
No, that's where your experience is perfect, first of all. Remembering short moments, especially when the thoughts go on, and we tend to indulge them and go into them. So that's, first of all, that's a perfect way of practicing, and that means relying on open intelligence. So you relied on, not on the descriptions of everything, but you relied on the essence of all the open intelligence that is, of course, inseparable from all these thoughts you were thinking. Yet sometimes it's because we just focused on the descriptions, it goes unnoticed. So it might feel like then the data go away and there's just some stillness you describe, and so that's perfect. I mean, stillness even. So that's perfect for now, to do that repeatedly whenever you remember. And that is relying on open intelligence. It's relying on a short moment rather than descriptions. So you're relying on open intelligence rather than on a reified intelligence, which is the descriptions. So this is that choice. So yeah, and your experience, and like you said, it's this way of interacting with open intelligence, basically, with the four mainstays that I shared a bit. It's like you come to the meetings, you hear the text, you ask a question, and you're open to everything that is said, and all that contributes to the evocation of open intelligence, making it more obvious, basically. So that's perfect. It just happens by showing up like that. Like we don't actually, it feels a bit like there's effort, but actually it'll become less and less any effort. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It does just that showing up. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I was curious, were you about to say that even the stillness is a kind of data? Like,
Yeah. Yes, it is in a way. It is totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Because I was wondering, because I think, do you think deep sleep's like that too? There's actually an object that creates the experience of deep sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah. It always is inseparable, although open intelligence becomes more obvious also in deep sleep. But there can't be open intelligence without data. There's always an expression of the dynamic energy of data, of open intelligence.
And do some people become lucid in deep sleep? Like,
Yeah, yeah. That, yeah, there's that open intelligence, so that recognition can become more obvious day and night. It's okay if it's not happening. Many people focus also on the day, but actually there are practices into the night, into sleep and dreams. And then they become also a practice field in a way to recognize open intelligence, and it really brings the spaciousness and recognition into it. Yeah, because open intelligence is uninterrupted day and night. And like you just noticed with the stillness, it's also data, and it's beautiful. It's nice, but you'll see that open intelligence recognition will be present and sort of still and peaceful within all data. But we don't look for peaceful and still, because sometimes it's not anything that is present. But there, the stability is, yeah, there's a quality. Open intelligence that is always available. Yeah, but it's perfect. I would say don't think too much about it, because these recognitions are great, but continue, and then that's becomes more and more obvious.
Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's great to hear everyone's experience. So thank you for sharing. Maybe there's anyone else who would like to perhaps add for you.
If there's not another question, I could share something that I just remembered from practicing in the beginning.
Michelle. Yeah.
Which I just I remember, like, it's sort of more on the first topic that we had, and like when I haven't had that specific circumstance that was mentioned, but in close relationships with like family or people you live with, and how it can be really button pushing, and certain dynamics just are difficult, especially you have old habits, and I had that. I came to the teaching, and there are certain dynamics that then, I had to learn how, like, new ways to sort of forge my way through in a way. And I remember, because it was after I had done the 12 empowerments, and so I had a personal trainer. And so I remember there was one occasion where it was my partner at the time. And my partner at the time said something to me that was like, I found like hurtful, like everything just went crazy in me, and what I was able to do in that moment was to have at least the spaciousness to say, okay, instead of responding immediately, I'm just going to carry on and just make my way to the other room and just relax. And I remember telling my trainer this, and I said, and I did this, and I took a short moment, and I went in the other room. And then I remember my trainer replying and saying, that's a beautiful, skillful means. And, it's open intelligence and hormones doesn't require, like, speaking or not speaking in the same way. Open intelligence is presence in thoughts and no thoughts. But it was, for me, it was like it empowered a skillful means, which I didn't know was available before, which is so simple. It's obvious, like, but my reaction usually came first. My instinct was to react in the moment. So there was just like the beginning of like enough spaciousness to make a change, a skillful means that I hadn't been doing that much before, probably. And And then I thought of another relationship, which was like in the more recent years, which was when visiting like a family member who I love so much. And there was just something in the way that was pushing my buttons so much. Now I've been resting for years. And like, I felt so much like this person had such a need for like to control the way things are done. And in her house, fair enough. But there was such a strong reaction for me that I was like, oh my gosh, it's so annoying. That's the word. And but what was really beautiful is because with the practice, like her good intentions, there was no ill will, and that was very clear. And I feel that was really significant in like just the situation. Like it was very clear. There's no ill will. This is just her being as she is. And it felt therefore like quite easy for me to just allow all of that bubbling irritation in myself, but with full responsibility for it. Like it wasn't something that I made her problem, that she was that way. And so it was like just for me to like allow this sort of flowering of like irritation, but like inseparable from that was just a really deep appreciation for her deep care for every detail. Like there was an ease amidst as well the irritation. And I was so happy because, I love her, like I said, so dearly. It's my aunt. And so I wouldn't want to hurt her. That would never be like my wished outcome. Like I treasure her. So yeah, so it felt so, empowering that I could be there in the face of intense irritation for however many days, like a week that I was visiting, knowing her pure intentions. And I feel like that's the thing for me I noticed is like, whether it is pure intentions or not, like maybe in the first case with the partner, I mean, you could say everything is from a pure intention, I guess, at some point, maybe, I don't know, whatever. But, in that case, it wasn't so obvious. But nevertheless, I feel the same result is like what has grown over time is increasing the skillful means and the ability to just be with the energy that's coming up and really take responsibility and therefore know, better, like more clearly how to act and respond and like what's actually needed or not needed in the situation. Like with my aunt, I didn't feel anything was really needed. I was only there for a week and it was fine, just to let her be also as she is. So yeah, I just thought of that, and in those times I, where like, that feeling of like, oh, just people aren't listening or like not taking care. That's how I, some things that I saw about that one. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, it's good to hear. Oh, how more open intelligence confidence brings empowers that we know what to do in such situations. I see also here that question here, recognition is a data, question mark, in the chat, yes. Well, it can become a data if we think it has to look a certain way. If relying on open intelligence or recognizing open intelligence has to look like stillness or has to look like not having irritated thoughts or emotions, so or look like peace. Even though you recognize something about you that is stable, indestructible, and still and at peace, but these kinds of descriptions, yeah, recognizing open intelligence is not one thing. So, and recognition is in all data, so it's not one particular data. But I can see why that question would come up because it is in all data. So, but also in the data, which we would say it's not open intelligence. And if we say, oh, recognizing open intelligence, then I should not feel something, this or that. So it is within all data. Yes, but it's hard to really figure it out with our, to figure it out. And even though it's good to have a certain understanding of open intelligence, in the end, it really comes to your own experience where you get more clear on what the recognition of open intelligence is. But it's powerful to see, like the conversation we had before, where we recognize open intelligence and it might be described as one thing, but then you recognize, oh yeah, it's another appearance of everything. But that's the recognition is inseparable from it. Mhm. So all data, basically. But we recognize open intelligence as a quality inseparable from it. Good. Maybe you want to share at one point how your short moments are going there, Maximo. And maybe let me know if it was helpful, the response. Okay, great. Good. Let's see if there's anything else before we end here. But we'll also share a little bit more. We have before, but also about the 12 empowerments that you heard now, so I'm sharing. And we've shared here before what are these 12 empowerment and what it means to deepen this confidence in open intelligence by going through a process, so to speak, of 12 steps or 12 empowerments that support the recognition of open intelligence within all our data of daily life. We might have certain circumstances, relationships, and feelings and thoughts that reoccur that feel challenging, where it's harder to recognize open intelligence. And the 12 empowerments, they deepen that within our own experience, within our own life. So that's the purpose, and we'll share more about that. But in the end, the confidence we gain in open intelligence has to be within wherever we are right now with our life circumstance, with the relationships we have to ourselves and others. And that's where the training ground is. That's the training ground. So it's, in a way, it's good. We don't have to change our life, but maybe we will want to make certain changes in our life, which is totally fine. Yet for open intelligence, we can gain confidence right there where we are at. So that gives us an opportunity in life that is quite precious. Then with open intelligence, the changes most often very likely are easier to make, more effortless, and are more empowered. Yes, okay, good. Well, maybe we'll pause here then. Thank you all for being here today.